These laptops right here, they are advertised to deliver, quote, next generation, high fidelity, immersive AAA gaming. They cost less than $1,000 and almost everything I just said is a fantasy. For years, we've all been sold the same dream, the chance to play the latest, most graphically intense blockbusters without shelling out $2,000, $3,000, or even $4,000 for a top-of-the-line rig. Companies promise us the world. They show us these slick marketing videos with impossibly smooth gameplay and tell us their budget-friendly machines are all we'll ever need. Well, today we're putting that promise to the test. And we're not just looking at benchmark charts. We're talking about the raw, unfiltered experience. The stutters, the fan noise that sounds like a jet engine, and the heartbreaking graphical downgrades you're forced to make. This isn't about what the box says. This is what it feels like to play the biggest games of the year on a machine that's fighting for its life. So what are we even talking about when we say a budget gaming laptop in 2025? Generally, we're looking at machines under $1,200 and more often under the $1,000 mark. For that price, you're usually getting an Intel Core i5 or an AMD Ryzen 5 processor. Maybe 16 gigs of RAM if you're lucky. And the real star of the show, a lower tier graphics card, like the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2050 to 4050 or 4060. On paper, that sounds pretty good, right? An RTX card. That means you get fancy features like ray tracing, and more importantly, access to NVIDIA's DLSS. That's the AI upscaling tech that has become absolutely essential for playing modern games. The marketing basically writes itself, and companies take full advantage, throwing around phrases like next-gen performance and play the latest titles with ease. For our testing, we grabbed a few laptops that are perfect examples of this category. We've got the super popular ASUS TUF Gaming F15, known for being built like a tank. We also have the HP Victus 15, a lightweight option that a lot of first-time gamers go for. All of them have pretty much the same guts. An RTX, 16 gigs of RAM, and a 1080p high refresh rate screen. They are the best case scenario for a gamer on a tight budget. They're the champions of affordable gaming. But the question is, can they actually handle the main event? To find out, we've put together a little trial by fire, a gauntlet of some of the most demanding PC games out there right now. We're not pulling any punches. First up is Cyberpunk 2077. Especially with its Phantom Liberty expansion. Years after it came out, this game's overdrive mode can still make high-end PCs weep. It's packed with dense cities, complex lighting, and super detailed textures. Our goal is simple. Can we hit a stable 60 frames per second at 1080p without making the game look like a blurry mess? Because let's be honest, if a game is constantly dipping below 30 FPS, it's just not fun. Next, we're throwing a different kind of challenge at them. Black Myth Wukong. This one's newer and known for its stunning art and fast combat. Here, it's not just about pretty visuals, it's about responsiveness. A stable frame rate is everything when one missed dodge means you're dead. Finally, just to give these laptops a chance to show what they can do, we'll run a few less demanding but massively popular competitive games like CS2 or Valorant. This is where the marketing often finds its grain of truth. Our process is simple. We test every game at 1080p. We'll start with the high or ultra settings, what you might optimistically click first and see what happens. Then comes the painful part. We start turning things down, sacrificing eye candy for playable frame rates, to show you exactly what compromises you'll have to make.
Our spike carrier is dead. No more Sova.
Enemy in defender spawn. Reloading.
Reloading.
If you mostly play esports titles like Valorant, League of Legends, or CS2, then a budget gaming laptop is an absolutely fantastic buy. On the ASUS TUF A15, Valorant at 1080p with competitive settings was hitting triple-digit frame rates no problem. It was buttery smooth, responsive, and that high refresh screen felt amazing. For these types of games, these laptops deliver a pro-level experience. On this front, the marketing is right. Now for the bad news, the AAA experience. We fired up Cyberpunk 2077 on the HP Victus 15 and chose the high preset at 1080p. The result? A very cinematic 35 frames per second, and that's just while walking around. The second a firefight started, it tanked into the 20s, turning into a stuttery, unplayable slideshow. We weren't just failing to hit 60 FPS, we were struggling to even hold 30. Okay, deep breaths. We dropped the settings to medium. Things got better. We started hovering around 40 to 50 FPS. Playable? Maybe. But it wasn't the smooth 60 FPS standard most PC gamers want. And Night City lost a lot of its magic. Textures looked flatter, shadows got simpler, and the whole image just wasn't as sharp. But what about the magic bullet, DLSS? We switched it on to the quality setting and success. Well, sort of. We were finally staying just above 60 FPS. But this is the first huge compromise. You're not really running the game at 1080p anymore. You're running it at a lower resolution and using AI to fill in the gaps. Nvidia's tech is amazing, but it's not perfect. There's a slight softness to the picture that you don't get at native resolution. And then we tried the forbidden fruit, ray tracing. I mean, it's an RTX card, right? We dared to turn on just the medium ray tracing settings. For these laptops, on these kinds of games, ray tracing is a feature that exists in name only. So here's the first brutal reality. To get a smooth 60 FPS in a modern AAA game, you will be using a mix of medium settings and AI upscaling. Ultra settings are a pipe dream. Ray tracing is off the menu. But the brutal reality isn't just about what's on the screen. It's about the physical experience of actually using these things. After about 20 minutes of running Black Myth Wukong, the fans on the HP Victus 15 went into full-on panic mode. And they are loud. We're talking a high-pitched whine that's impossible to tune out unless you have a serious pair of noise-canceling headphones. This is what happens when you cram hot, powerful parts into a small plastic box built on a budget. Cooling is expensive, and it's one of the first places manufacturers cut corners. The result is something called thermal throttling. As the chips get too hot, the laptop slows them down to save them from melting. We saw it happen in every long gaming session. Frame rates that were okay at the start would begin to stutter and dip after an hour. Not because the game got harder, but because the laptop couldn't cool itself anymore. The keyboard gets hot, the performance drops, and the fun stops. And don't even think about gaming on battery. You'll be lucky to get an hour of playtime, and the performance is usually cut way down when it's not plugged into the wall. So that's the unfiltered truth we found. But what about you? If you've got a budget gaming laptop, what have your experiences been? What compromises are you making? What games run great and which ones are totally unplayable? Let us know in the comments, because your real world experience is the most valuable thing for other people trying to figure this out. And if you appreciate this no BS approach to hardware, think about subscribing for more. After all this, should you buy a budget gaming laptop? It's really tempting to just say no, don't do it. But the real answer is a little more complicated. It all comes down to managing your expectations. If you're a hardcore gamer who needs the absolute best graphics, if you want to see Grand Theft Auto 6 or the next Elder Scrolls in all their maxed out ray trace glory, this ain't it. A budget laptop would just be a constant source of frustration. You'll always be messing with settings, worrying about temps, and feeling like you're playing a lesser version of the game. For you, the answer is a hard no. You're better off saving up for a more powerful rig or looking at a desktop, which always gives you more bang for your buck. However, if you're a different kind of gamer, the story changes. Are you a student who mostly plays esports titles but wants to jump into a big single player game now and then? Are you a casual player who isn't counting every pixel and is fine with medium settings? Are you someone whose absolute max budget is $1,000 and the only other option is no gaming PC at all? For you, this laptop isn't a compromise, it's a gateway. It's a machine that, yes, makes you tinker and forces you to accept lower settings, but it can run the games. It can get you a 60 FPS experience in Cyberpunk, which was unthinkable at this price just a few years ago. It lets you play with your friends, see these amazing worlds, and be part of the gaming conversation. Tech like DLSS is basically its life support system, bridging the massive gap between the hardware you have and the games you want to play. The brutal reality of budget AAA gaming is that the marketing is overblown. You are not getting a high-end experience for a low-end price. You are buying a box of compromises. You're trading graphics for price. You're trading peace and quiet for portability. You're trading the simple joy of ultra settings for the mandatory tweaks of medium and the helping hand of AI upscaling. The manufacturers will never tell you this. They'll show you a few perfect seconds of gameplay and hope you don't ask about the rest. But now you know the reality. It isn't pretty, but for the right person with the right expectations, it might just be good enough. And in PC gaming, sometimes good enough is all it takes to get in the game.